Okay, so it seems like recently there's been even more of a situation going on with the Sameko Saba kind of hiatus or whatever you want to call it, right? Because essentially we've talked about this before of a lot of people going after Saba for taking a lot of breaks. She's been known to go away for a while, and she's also been known to do that as well in her past life and, before. And I think a lot of people, starting to get a little bit worried because it's been a couple of months and we haven't heard anything from Saba. But again, there's been a lot of people talking about it, and there's been a lot of different kind of opinions on this, and a lot of it, has been a lot of people now hating on her and going after her. Now, this one, I don't think is necessarily hating on her, but it definitely is a, interesting kind of thing, and I think it is okay, right? And we'll talk about why it is okay, because obviously they say, I told myself that if she didn't stream or even make a community post by the next time this renews, I would have to cancel it. But this really is such a hard decision for me. I want to keep supporting her, but IMO, it's a little bit screwed up just to go AWOL without any notice. So again, essentially what they're saying here is that, yeah, they're going to be canceling their membership. If you don't know, obviously YouTube has memberships, similar to kind of like a Twitch sub, right? Except you also get a lot more content with it. So a Twitch sub, obviously, you just get the sub. You get maybe some emotes, you get you obviously support the creator, whatever. Whereas YouTube, you do get like the promise of other stuff too, like for example, like exclusive live streams or whatever. Sometimes you can include that within the package, and I think Saba has a couple of those things in there. But essentially, yeah, they're going to be canceling it because she hasn't gone live for quite a while, and I think that's fair enough, right? I think that a lot of people, if you don't want to continue to have a membership with Saba if she's not streaming, then I think that's fair enough, right? I don't think you're necessarily a hater or whatever, and I'm sure that some people would want it to come back, but people have other priorities with their money that they don't want to be spending it on someone that doesn't stream, right? And I think it's fair enough, right? It's as harsh as it sounds, and as much as people like Saba, I think that it's okay to cancel a membership if they're not fulfilling what you really want, right? People saying there isn't a single other VTuber I know of who would even take this frequent hiatus and not even make a post about it. I'm not even asking for much here, just a vague sorry about the lack of content, personal things happening, but we get nothing. Maybe I'll change my mind in the morning. But for now, I feel kind of sad. I've been a fan of hers since her incarnation, and it just sucks to basically get nothing from a content creator I enjoy. Like I said, I'm gonna sleep on it, but for now, this is where it stands for me, and I don't really, and I know y'all don't really care, but this is my social media. I'm gonna vent my feelings if I want to. Which obviously, yeah, people say, while I feel like this is near the deep end of parasocialism, I do understand what you're saying. Hope she streams, maybe, but I also hope that you'll be well emotionally, even if not. Said, oh yeah, I'll be fine. There are other VTubers I'm way more parasocial about, lol. While this probably does cross a line, I also feel like it's just common sense. And yeah, I mean, it is common sense. There is like a mix between parasocialism and common sense. I think obviously there is the case of the parasocialism, as I don't think you should expect it to come back. I don't think you should expect it to do anything really. But as I said, if you don't want to give your money to that, that's totally fine, right? That's the common sense part. If you don't want to give your money to someone that isn't streaming, that's fair enough. People say it's fair. She streams in short batches. It goes radio silent for way longer. It's your money and you decide what to do with it, which yeah, I think is fair enough. The bestie banger. So I feel like people kind of forget why we're here, why part of enjoying VTubers. Yes, it's fun to be in a community of people with similar interests and stuff, but that's not what brought you here in the first place. It was because you believed in someone and they made your day better in some capacity. There will always be hard times for VTubers and their communities, but at the end of the day, they're there to inspire you. I don't think any VTuber who actually cares about the community would be upset with you for taking a break, especially when they are when they aren't upholding their end of the deal for whatever. A break doesn't mean forever. A break doesn't mean the last year. Doesn't mean the last year or whatever you spent with them didn't mean something. It's just a break, which yeah, I think is fair enough, right? And there's been, as I said, a lot of different opinions on this situation, right? And of course, there's been a lot of quote retweets to this as well, which has kind of made this tweet blow up, saying stop giving her money and see how fast she comes back. Saying she's literally using y'all as a wallet. I've never seen a VTuber this blatant about not caring about her fans. I feel like I'm going crazy when seeing all of this, people roasting this post when a perk of the membership is literally live streams. She doesn't owe you anything is true in most cases, but here content is one of the promised deliverables. So it's fair to be frustrated and express that. Now, again, I think that it's essentially the fact that I don't think she owes you anything in terms of the content or whatever. But if you feel like you're not getting enough out of the deliverables that come with the membership, which again, there are already tons of deliverables that are there, so you are still getting something, right? But if you aren't happy with the fact of, there isn't any more coming in, then I think that's fair enough, right? I think that's fair enough if you want to cancel it, because, you're not getting what you want out of it, right? And anybody can, cancel it because of that. So yeah, again, sure, right? People say I'm seeing this person get dragged at the moment, and I honestly have no idea why. What exactly did they do wrong? I thought it was normal to stop paying someone that isn't making content. I'm so confused. Help. I said no hate to Saba, but I'd say she does owe fans some type of notice. And again, this is what I find pretty interesting, right? Because a lot of people have been saying, okay, she doesn't owe us content, but she does owe us a notice of that she's going to be away. But obviously, if we go to her page over on Twitter, she actually has a notice here. Now, granted, it's from November 19th, 2025, right? This is about, 6 months old? But, it all depends on, I guess, your interpretation of activity will be spotty for me for a while, right? For a little while. So I don't know how long a little while is supposed to be, whether that's supposed to be over 6 months or not. But she has said before, right? Hey, sorry for the very late notice, but streams and activities will be spotty for me for a little while as I deal with some health-related issues. So obviously, it's clearly health-related. As I feel well and able, I will pop in. Thank you always for your patience. So again, I haven't heard any update. Maybe she mentioned it on stream. Maybe she said she was better on stream. I don't know. But again, as far as I'm aware, she has actually said that, hey, her streams will be spotty for a little while as she deals with some health-related issues. And obviously, this was kind of, said back in November 19th, 2025. So actually, probably, it's about 6 months, right? And again, I think that, maybe you have a different interpretation of what a little while could be. Maybe you think that means just a couple of weeks or whatever. But, there genuinely could be a chance that Saba could have meant more and could have meant, this long, right? And I think that, to be fair, she has left an announcement. So some of the people asking for, a kind of message or whatever, well, I mean, there it is. Now, again, should she make a new one, maybe saying, hey, I'm going to be away for a little bit longer, maybe, this is going to be extended a little bit further as I'm still dealing with health stuff, then yeah, sure, right, whatever. But again, I think it also falls into the territory of, like, should she need to do that if she is struggling with health issues? Like, does she need to update everybody on Twitter, like, every single week about when she'll be back? Or should she just go away for a bit and then come back? I don't know. But as she said, she was going to be spotty in terms of her stream. So that's why she has streamed a little bit. Also, she's been doing a lot of collabs as well, and a lot of, merch stuff. And people have been saying, like, oh, she's just trying to get money out of people and whatever. But I honestly think it is just the lack of streams that is obviously caused by health problems or whatever. And the thing is, she's such a big streamer. She's taken on a lot of these kind of sponsorships and different collaborations, right, with these events and product making services or whatever, that they've all gone, hey, you want to do this, and this? And she said yes. And obviously they deal with most of the stress and work and whatever. And then she just has to announce it. Sometimes that can happen, right? So she barely streams, but a lot of these kind of big collaborations have finally gone through. So, some people are accusing her of just like taking money from people because she hasn't been streaming, but still does collabs. I don't really know. And obviously, if we check back at Saba's streams here, let's have a look. She streamed, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 5 months ago. And again, it has been very, very spotty, and to the point where obviously it stopped 2 months ago. So again, I honestly think it is something to do more so with, her health and whatever is going on with that. Now, of course, some people have their own speculations behind what it is, but honestly, I do think it is the health-related thing. Obviously, this person said, what the hell, this was not my intention, and then he said, maybe a controversial take, but I've seen a lot of hate for Saba for her lack of streams recently, and I personally don't understand it. Creators don't owe you anything. If they're feeling like making, they do it. If they are, they don't. It's really that simple. Do I understand the frustration of fans who would like to see more of her content? Yeah. Do I understand? Do I think that the frustration should be directed at her in the form of hate? if you want to consider streaming again, that's probably not the best idea, which obviously, yeah, is true, right? I think obviously hating on her for not streaming isn't probably going to bring her back anytime sooner, right? If anything, it's going to push her away. Said, and when it comes to those who support Saba monetarily through membership or merch, that is your own choice. You wish to support the creator as a person, and if you feel like you're not getting what you want out of it, you can stop doing it at any time, which I think is, you know, fair enough, right? So the problem is, isn't that she takes breaks, is that she doesn't communicate with her audience, which again, as I said, you know, maybe you could argue that she hasn't communicated with them recently, but I do think she did leave a kind of you know, a message here to let people know. Now obviously maybe people don't go that far back or whatever in terms of like looking at this kind of stuff, but again, she did kind of mention it, right? Even if it has been 6 months, but you know, maybe some people want a newer response, maybe some people want a newer thing. Some people saying it's really funny how Saba left, came back to announce overpriced merch, and then left again without another word. Which obviously, if you said I miss returns to featuring huge comeback, model is fantastic, all the hype, streams less than before, which was none. What was the point, man? So man, cover was forcing her to work so much. And obviously, that's what something that people have been kind of bringing up as well, is like saying, oh, you know, people are saying that she's going to stream more because she wasn't with cover and hololive and whatever. But again, I just don't think that's the case. I think she always was struggling with that stuff regardless of cover. But again, that's what some people have been talking about. People saying, I think the hate on Saba is ridiculous. She makes high quality content every time she streams because she's streamed for years. She knows how to engage and captivate an audience. Due to that, she makes money from people who want to support her. For those complaining that she isn't producing a lot of content, just know that she's a person outside of VTuber work. She's not telling you her personal life. If she can get by streaming once in a while, then that's great for her. Example, imagine your friend worked hard in their career and was only able to only have to work a couple of hours a month. Wouldn't you be happy for them? Of course, we'd all love more Saba, but this is her choice, and if you don't like it, move on. There is a ton of other VTuber content creators who stream often that you can watch and support. Lastly, if you're upset about overpriced merch, then don't buy it. It's not meant for you. Which, you know, people saying you're like a beaten dog, lol. That's a weird statement. Said, I love the people defending Saba. It's those people's money. Yeah, sure, but Saba is scamming her audiences by giving them hope that she'll maybe one day return by releasing merch or teasing a return. At least with Filial, she's been silent and not leading people on. Which I guess, right? Because I'm not hating, but the way she does her VTubing activity is not something that I would ever support. I buy merch, join membership, etc. to support VTubers in their activities. I don't just give free money to people, especially when I know they're rich. So high quality content. But yeah, her streams are cozy and comforting. What more do you want, lol? Which, you know, saying she makes high quality content. Stop right there. What benchmark for you to rate her content as high quality? Right now, you guys literally act like Pokemon fans. Said she makes content that is cozy, comforting, welcoming, and her streams are good quality. What more are you expecting? So yeah, obviously a lot of people very not happy about that, and obviously we already covered that post within the other thing. So yeah, I mean, that is essentially everything that has been going on with Sameko Saba recently and the amount of hate that she's been getting. Again, as I said, I do think it's fair enough if a lot of people want to cancel their memberships or any kind of monetary support that they were giving her, because of course she hasn't been live and, you know, she hasn't been streaming, so I don't necessarily think that, you know, you should be, you know, doing that, right? But also at the same time, do people need to hate on her for not streaming? No. You know, I think you're well in your right to be angry about, you know, monetary things and be unhappy with the fact that maybe you didn't get enough out of like a membership or whatever that you wanted. But I think that if you're just angry that she hasn't streamed, just find another VTuber. It's really that simple. But again, obviously some people are very infatuated with Saba, want her to stream more. And of course I wanted to stream more too, but I think it gets to a point, right, where it's just like, okay, like, come on, let's just calm down a bit. Let's just move on and just, you know, go find another VTuber to watch, right? But again, some people are pretty angry at the moment. But yeah, that's about all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.